Welcome to the session number 4 about the calendar, Mayan calendar. We continue discussing about the numerical system. We ended up with that, and now I want to move directly to the calendar. Before getting into this, I wanted to explain that I ended up meeting the elder Hoshi because my father got killed when I was 10, 11 years old. So because of my condition of orphan, he was killed in Guatemala because he was a leader in those days, and he had some political connections, and so he got killed long time ago when I was, I'm 60 some years old. So, and then I end up because of these circumstances of orphandad, I end up being in the streets with nobody to take care of me, and that's when Hoshi, this elder from the Shorty tribe, took me in to his family and told me that I was supposed to be the inheritor of this knowledge. So this happened long time ago. So I didn't want to learn at the beginning, but eventually Hoshi was the father I never had, because my father was being sought by the authorities because he was a rebel from Guatemala, and he was hiding. So I didn't really have a father per se. And then he got killed, so he was a famous rebel in those days. So after clearing that up, I wanted to explain that most of the people in Guatemala, Mexico, the elders, they keep the calendar, the king. They've been working for hundreds of years with one wheel. It's called the Sol King. Sol King is a wheel that is called the spiritual round by the archaeologists. This wheel has 260 days. And this is what they've been using all this time. But reality is that when the Spanish came, before the Spanish, the Colombian times, the Mayan calendar had many wheels. We're talking about 13 wheels, bunch of wheels. And that's why they make the calendar amazing. Because we don't know what the mysteries of the universe this thing contain, and all got lost because the Spanish killed everybody that was involved into this knowledge of the calendar. And the few people that survived and got the knowledge, they only had one wheel. And that's what the brave people, they continue keeping this tradition, because it was death sentence for anyone that was working with the calendar. But even like that survived to our days with one wheel. And that's what they've been teaching. And some of them are still stuck in one wheel. Now Hochi, my teacher, he had two wheels. And lately, the last 15 years, because of this thing about the end of the world, whatever, the end of the Mayan calendar, Hollywood and all these things, 2012, you remember that. Some of the groups in Guatemala and Mexico, they're scrambling because these wheels that talk about the end of the world is the wheel, the next wheel over. And that wheel has 365 days. And that's the hub, which is the solar wheel. It's the solar calendar. So all that had been lost. Nobody was using it for hundreds of years. And now when this thing about the 2012, all the groups scrambled to try to find out where incorporate this new wheel in this one. And that's a problem. In my case, I got the one that is anchored in a specific place by Hoshi, because he was taught that by his grandfather and many generations before that. They come from last century, before last century, the 1800s. So there is a problem with the different groups that are choosing different dates to start their solar year. Some of them based their announcements lately to Hollywood. They say, well, the new era of the Maya began in 21st December of 2012. So some groups decided to just take that number as the beginning of the years. And you know that's flawed, that's wrong. And some of them went tried to interpret some of the stelae, some of the glyphs and the rocks, but it's very hard to figure it out when exactly does the solar begin. So some of them shows July, the beginning of the solar cycle, and some of them shows February, and it's a variety, but it could be more than that. Those are the ones that I know of. In the case of Hoshi, he gave it to me. They knew 365 begins in April 2nd of the Western calendar. And I've been doing this for decades, since I worked for 3 decades or more into this, since I decided to continue this tradition. And in the future, I'm going to explain to you what are the elements of logic, but where exactly does this wheel, why does it feel what it feels or fit into. There is logic to this, and I can explain to you with proof why those Hoshi's representation is better than the other ones. And to really understand the power of the calendars, to really understand the secrets of the cosmos, you have to really put all the wheels together. And for me, when the elder gave me this knowledge, I cannot sit idle and just repeat this forever. No, I'm a person that loves science. So I have to find out the truth and understand this. And by luck, I got access to be in college, and did took some studies in archaeology and read a lot. So so far, this way, I have a man to put all these wheels together to the original wheel. So we can discuss all these wheels that have been added up to the system, and all of them are important. All of them give us a tiny clue about how the Maya were discovering these mysteries of the universe. And you'll be part of this journey. This is a long journey because this is the more complicated device in the history of humanity. So we're gonna go through these cycles. We got the Sol King, which says 260 days. We got the Hab, that has 365 days. We got the Shahalak. These other wheels that I'm gonna teach, they don't have them down there. Nobody is using them because they don't know what these things are. They don't have no idea how to fit them together. This is like a giant jigsaw puzzle of things, but it can give you an insight in the universe, the working of the universe. These people had a connection with beings from the stars or something, I believe, because what they advanced was too much to think that they could have. But that doesn't mean the Maya, diminish the Maya, because these beings, wherever they are, they give you clues, or they show clues, but they are not going to show you everything. So the shyness of the Maya continues, to try to crack down all these things and assemble this knowledge. And then we have the Shahalak. This is a cycle that contains 360 days. This comes from archaeologists have found this wheel. It's called the 9 Lords of the Night, which is 9 symbols that repeat one after the other, one after the other ones. In another talk, I'll explain in more detail why it comes to 360. If it's only 9, well, it comes to that. And then after that, we got the Ixhab. The Ixhab contains 300 and 84 days. This one could be variable. It could be because this is the cycle of the lunar Mayan calendar, which has disappeared out of this whole planet. But I've been shown something, and I've been analyzing and incorporated this other wheel. And that one opened the whole plethora of things, mysteries about the calendar that you cannot figure it out without these wheels. And then you got the ka-wheel. The ka-wheel is a wheel that has 819 days. The archaeologists talk about it. They found it, and they don't have no idea what that means. They think it's something related to the blood of the kings. And we'll explore too what these 819 means. And then we go to the Bahkik, which is a cycle or wheel that has 400 days. And then finally we go to Jonumachika. These, like I said, are my own findings of these mysteries of the calendar. This cycle contains 949 days. And also we'll be exploring what does this mean? What does this number means? It's all very complicated, but it's fascinating, to uncover these mysteries this ancient culture created. And we'll continue, and we'll be explaining these wheels, the logic and the reasonings to incorporate these wheels, and what do they mean as far as I understand. After that, we'll go to try to get in the subject of exploring each of the days of the calendar. We also have to talk about the Solkin, where do these 260 days come from. So, okay, well, we'll see you in the next segment. This is segment 4. Thank you much for coming to see me. Bye. Matios.